Hello, beautiful people. Today is 30th of June. My name is Sahil, and welcome to Newspaper Analysis. Friends, today we'll take a quote from Ernest Howard Crosby, who's an American author. He says that the wealth of the world has indeed increased by leaps and bounds, but most of it has fallen into the laps of the few. So it highlights that how the prosperity has been increased but has not been appropriated. And it happens to be true even into the case of India, which is reflected onto the poor performance into the Gini coefficient. So, guys, we can use this particular quote onto the questions of inequality in GS paper number 1, society, GS paper number 2, social justice, as well as onto the essays. Now, friends, the main question that I gave you yesterday. So, the question is from history, GS paper number 1. The question asked that what are the reasons for the Mapila uprising? Make an assessment of influence of Indian national movement on Mapila uprising. Now, guys, we will be dividing it into the intro, body, and conclusion. And with the intro, we will be giving a brief sketch in 2 lines as who were the Mapilas, where there was the geographical location, their origin, their ethnicity, everything into the 1 or 2 line. Friends, yesterday I told you it is a 10 marker question, so we don't have that much scope. Then, what are the reasons for their uprising? So, the reason happens to be the British exploitative policies, and these policies you need to divide into the headings such as economical, political, social, discriminatory, and all these things, and need to substantiate them. And you will be providing that the uprising of 1921 was not a knee jerk reaction but was a reaction of the accumulated exploitation and sufferings which they are facing from a very long time. Now, guys, the relation between the Indian national movement and Mapila uprising. So at this point of time, the non-cooperation movement along with the Khilafat movement were the two dominant Indian national movement themes. And we'll be writing that how the Shaukat Ali and Mahatma Gandhi, they visited the Malabar region and held that Mapilas should stage a non-cooperation movement which will strengthen the bond between the communities as well as will be a fight against the British for the Swaraj. So guys, however, at the end of the day, it was not a successful exercise, but it led or it started a legacy into the South India because this was the first major struggle into the South India. So that dimension also we need to put. And finally, we will be concluding it into the positive light that it reflected more of a symbolism rather than onto the practical achievement and is important part of India's freedom legacy. Moreover, the question was pretty simple. I hope that you were able to attempt it. So, guys, that's it. And now let's take up the newspaper analysis. Friends, let's take up the overview of the entire paper first. So, Unlock 2 has been announced, so we will see certain issues here. Then, guys, the plasma bank is being established, so we will see that what is it and what will be its implications. Then, guys, government had started the app diplomacy and the apps of China has been banned, so we will see the positives and negatives and how it is being done. Then, guys, moving forward into the city section, nothing important has been given. Now, guys, here the parole extension has been mentioned, so we will see that what are the paroles, furloughs, and all these kind of things with respect to the polity. Then moving forward into here also nothing important has been given. Then, guys, again the northwest also only the COVID news has been mentioned, not important for our exam. Then we are into the editorial section. So this first editorial talks about the Midwest peace agreement. So we will see from the origin what is the issue here. Then, guys, the development going on to the LAC ball by ball commentary has been given, not important because nothing substantial has came here. Then, guys, the hunger and how the food security can be maintained, we will see what has been given. Then, guys, the Naga peace accord, it has been given here. Then the stars projects criticism has been given, so we will see what are the issues involved here. Then, guys, here the sharing of public data with the public and some good initiatives has been mentioned, so we will see them. After that, there are no important news here on to the page number 8. Then, guys, here India-Bhutan Hydel agreement has been mentioned, so we will see that particular thing. Then again the COVID related news has been given, not important for the exam. Will free grains scheme stay? We will see that what has been given. The portal's PM SVANidhi has been started. We'll see the issues. Then, guys, the showcase page, not important for our exam, not important showcase. Then on to the world page, nothing important news has been mentioned, and unrest and all these things have been mentioned, which is not important. Then on to the business, apart from the corporate, the operation twist of RBI has been mentioned. We will see this thing. Then, guys, on to the last page, sports page, nothing important. So that's all. And now let's take up the detailed newspaper analysis. Now, guys, first in a brief, we can see that the rules for the Unlock 2 has been unveiled by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, friends, there is the Disaster Management Act of 2005, under which National Executive Committee is to be formed into an event of disaster, and this National Executive Committee will recommend that the what steps will be taken. So, guys, under the guidance of National Executive Committee, Ministry of Home Affairs had released the unlocking process, under which some guidelines were released into the month of June for that particular month, and now the guidelines for the July month has been released. Now, guys, we don't need to see exactly that what has opened and what will not be opening, because this is not important for our UPSC exam. Now, the gradual reopening of economy is very much essential in order to bring the growth back, which is much needed to sustain such large economy and so much large demographic profile of India. But as unlocking is beginning, it is also needed to be kept in mind that the cases of COVID 19 should be kept into the controllable number. As of now, more than 5.6 lakh cases have been reached, and more than 16,000 deaths have also been recorded. And because of this thing only, the governments such as Maharashtra and Manipur are not even starting the unlocking but further extending their lockdown. So, guys, the decisive calls are needed to be taken care of, and they will be coming with their own cost and their own advantages. So, that's all. Now, we'll move to next. Now, here we can see that the government has banned 59 Chinese apps onto the perception of threat to national security and sovereignty. The apps which have been banned includes the prominent apps such as the TikTok, Share It, UC browser, etc. However, moving forward, the decision to ban the apps has been taken under the powers conferred by Section 69A of the IT Act, read with IT Procedures and Safeguard for Blocking of Access of Information by Public Rules 2009, or simply you can call them as IT Rules 2009. Now, guys, Section 69A gives power to the central government that it can issue directions for blocking the public accessibility of any information through any computer resource. Now, friends, it is being said that the purely apps have been blocked onto the pretext of sovereignty, security, and defense of India. But we cannot overrule that the populism has played much more important role here, and the anti-China propaganda which is going throughout the nation can also be held responsible. Now, if we analyze this particular thing, then it can give two dimensions. Number one, this is a much needed step which would have to be give to China, and not only the subtle diplomacy will be doing, we need to use the clout where India can do so. We have large demography, and much of these apps have their user base in India. So, guys, by this particular thing, India is doing a type of a negative lobbying, and ultimately at the end of the day tends to ease the tension at the LAC sector. However, secondly, there is one more opinion that comes which says that India, without creating any indigenous capability, without creating any IT base, is doing all these kind of things which will negatively be impacting the productivity and potential into the Indian markets. And apart from the Chinese harm, there will be much harm to the India also. Moreover, guys, this particular thing also promotes a kind of a xenophobia which is not good into the long term, though tensions might be eased off. For example, recently the Hotels Association of Delhi had banned any Chinese national to stay into the hotels. And guys, this particular sentiment will be staying for much longer, and into the long term will be impacting the ease of doing business, because cities such as Delhi, Mumbai, they are the financial hubs, the economical hubs of our country. And here, if such kind of behavior will prevail, then guys, India will not be rising onto the occasion of becoming a destination for global business. So, guys, that's all a little bit kind of analysis if we make. However, you on to the basis of question, you can take your own stand. So that's all. Now we'll move to next. Guys, here we can see that the Delhi has decided to set up the plasma bank, which can be a very good development in order to explore the recovery options for the COVID 19 patients. Now, if we talk about the convalescent plasma therapy, then it has shown considerable results into the studies carried in China as well as UK, and it has been said that patients have shown very good recovery. Moreover, guys, in this particular direction, government such as Delhi, Kerala has earlier also conducted trials onto the convalescent plasma therapy. However, the results were mixed. Now, discussing about the principle behind the convalescent plasma therapy. So, guys, a person who had recovered from the COVID 19 has developed the antibodies in his blood plasma. And if we take some of these antibodies from his blood plasma and administer those antibodies or that blood plasma to a sick person, then it is believed that this person will also develop an immune response to the COVID 19 and will recover. So, in this particular direction, the people who had recovered are being asked that they should come forward and should donate their blood plasma to the plasma bank, and these banks will store that plasma and will administer to the patients who are seriously ill and requires urgent health intervention. Now, guys, this blood plasma is being established at the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences. However, the name is not that important for our exam, but still, if you want, you can use it. So, this is a positive development as the number of COVID 19 cases are increasing in India. We should have much larger option sets with respect to the treatment, and therefore the developments such as dexamethasone, fabiflu, convalescent, etc. are a good development. So, guys, that's all. Now we'll move to next. Here, guys, we can see that a news related to the extension of parole has been given. But for our exam point of view, the extension is not important. Rather, the concept of a parole and other associated concepts such as furlough becomes important for the polity questions into the prelims. So, first of all, let's talk about parole. Guys, by the definition, parole is just a kind of a relief from the jail or a leave from the jail where an inmate can go back to his home and can resume the activities into the outside world. So, in India, we have the Prison Act of 1894, which talks about the paroles. But under the Constitution of India, Schedule number 7, prison is a state subject. So therefore, the different state governments had framed their jail manuals and the prison rules which exactly deals with the concept of parole, so it can differ from state to state. Now, guys, further moving, parole is a type of a suspension of the jail term. For example, Mr. A committed a crime and for that he was given a jail for 5 years, but in total he has been onto the parole for 1 year. So at the end of the day, in totality, he will be released after 6 years, and this 1 year will just be considered as a time when his jail term was suspended. Now, the authority to grant the parole is with the state executive onto the basis of reports submitted by the jail authorities. However, the people who are into the jail onto the pretext of multiple murders or under the crimes of terrorism under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act will not be entitled to get the parole. Now, guys, there is one more associated term which comes, that is the furloughs. And guys, the same Prison Act of 1894 also deals with the furlough. Now, furlough is different from the parole because parole is given for a specific reason. For example, death of a family member, marriage, exam, all these kind of thing. But furlough is a regular exercise which is given to a person to restore his societal ties, so that when he will go back to the society, he doesn't find it difficult to adjust there. So, guys, on to the regular period, the furloughs are given to the long term jail inmates. And one more thing, furlough can be asked as a matter of right, where the parole cannot be asked as a matter of right. And guys, as we had seen that the parole is a suspension of the jail tenure, the furlough is different in this particular regard as it is a remission. It means if a person was given the jail term of 10 years and for 1 year he was onto the furlough, so at the end of the day he will be released into the 10 years only because this 1 year was remitted. So that's all, and now we'll move to next. Now we are into the editorial section, and the first editorial that we'll discuss talks about the Mid East peace plan, which has been unveiled by Israel as well as USA to settle the Palestine Israel question. Now, before going into the tutorial, if we see little bit into the background, then guys, there are two things. One is the Israel and other is the Palestine. Now, if you will pick up the regular world map, you will find the Israel onto the map, but you will not find the Palestine. So, exactly what is this Palestine? Palestine is a demand by the Arab people that they should be given their own country, that is Palestine. And where that country should be given? It should be given where the Israel is situated, because according to the Arab, the Israelis don't have any legitimate right into the region. Now, if we go little bit into the contemporary world history, see, when the World War II was being fought, at that point of time, Hitler was against the Jew people and he started the anti Semitism movement where the Jews were systematically exterminated. And guys, because of that particular thing, a kind of a sympathy emerged into the world nations, particularly into the USA, in favor of the Jew people, and it was said that the Jews should be given the justice and their lands should be restored. So, guys, at that point of time, it was said that Jews should be resettled into this particular region. Why? Because it has the Jerusalem and Mount Zion, which is the holiest place in for the Jews and is believed to be the original home of the Jews. So, a Zionism movement started, in which the Jews from the world countries they came and they settled into this particular region, and it was called as the Israel or the countries of Jews. But guys, there will be one problem into this entire thing, that what about the people who are originally living here? So here Arabs were living and they had the problem by this particular episode, as they said that what about our place? So Arab started that they should also be given a country, that is Palestine. And therefore, in 1948, a war was fought between the Israel on one hand and the Arab countries which were supporting the Palestine. And in this particular war, Jordan, which you can see here, claimed the West Bank region. So, guys, West Bank was claimed and it was the place where the Arab or the Palestinians will be living. However, guys, in 1967, there was again a war which is popularly called as the Six-Day War. Here, the Israelis they won and they reclaimed back the West Bank. And guys, as a part of international agreement, Oslo Accords were signed, and into the Oslo Accords, it was said that the West Bank will be divided into the Israelis as well as Palestinians. However, the majority claim was here given to the Israelis. Now, if we come to the present times, so Palestinians are living in two regions. One is the Gaza Strip, and other is the West Bank. But guys, this is not the permanent solution, and they want that some decisive thing should come, and into this particular direction Palestinian Liberation Organization etc are even taking up an armed conflict against the Israel. So guys, in order to bring the permanent solution, Mid East peace plan has been now released. So, guys, according to it, the Israel will be annexing the parts of the West Bank, and according to the estimates, nearly 30% of the West Bank will go into the favor of Israel. Now, guys, one very strategic thing you can note here, that now the West Bank is strategically being cut off from its eastern neighbors, and it is a strategy of the Israel as well as USA to sideline the Palestinians. Moreover, guys, one separate capital will also be given to the Palestinians, that is the Abu Dis, which lies into the vicinity of the Jerusalem. Moreover, it has also been said that as the Israelis will be annexing the West Bank territories, they will compensate the Palestinians by giving them some new territories where the Arab people are into the much larger numbers. And to pass this particular proposal into the Israeli parliament, that is Knesset, the proposal will be laid on to the July 1st. So guys, this is the unbiased thing that what is happening. Now this particular move has certain problems. For example, number one, it has been said that the move is an attempt to sideline the Palestinians from their favorable neighbors such as Jordan. So it has a strategic angle. Second problem is that, guys, as the region will be annexed, what about the people who are living into that particular region? Will they be given the nationality of Israel, or what will be their status? Moreover, will they be given the equality to follow their ethnic practices? Guys, it is very clear that Israel is a Jewish state in which the precedence is given to the Jewish customs, religion, and the traditions. But what about the Arabian people into the state? Then, thirdly, there is a problem that, guys, annexation which has been discussed is illegal under the international law. For example, the United Nations Charter, Geneva Convention, the principles of the United Nations Security Council, principles of United Nations General Assembly, as well as United Nations Human Rights Commission call annexation is an act of force and it is not admissible at any cost. Therefore, it could be a type of a crime and could be called under scrutiny into the International Court of Justice. And guys, then there is one more problem, that is, it is an attempt to isolate the Palestine from the rest of the world, because from all the sides they will be contained by the Israel. Moreover, guys, accessibility to various strategic roads have also been taken back into the Mid East plan, so therefore it is highly biased. And therefore, into this particular direction, the United Nations Secretary General has also convened a virtual meet where he had called it as a serious violation of the international law, and had also called the Middle East Quartet, that is the United States, Russia, European Union, and the United Nations, to assume a mediatory role, and the tensions should be diffused into a sustainable manner. Now, guys, if we talk about the India's position, then India had maintained the strategic relations with Israel, and at the same time, they also affirm the rights of the Palestinian people and had supported the Palestinian cause. So, therefore, India needs to have a very carefully crafted policy where it should not avenge or should not frustrate any of the party. However, at the end of the day, on to the merits, the matter should be decided. So guys, that's all about here. I hope you have understood, and now we'll move to next. Friends, this particular article talks about the food security of India. So, right now, as the pandemic had started, we know that on one hand there is a health crisis, on another hand there is an economic crisis. Thus, unemployment, economic miseries will come, and guys, due to this thing, a food insecurity or food crisis for the people will become very much rampant. Therefore, with the lockdown, government announced the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, where it was said that 5 kg extra food grains and 1 kg extra pulses will be given to the beneficiaries of the National Food Security Act. But guys, later a problem was observed, that what about the people who are migrant into other states? They don't have the ration cards, so therefore they will not be the beneficiary into that state. How food will be given to them? So there are large people who are excluded. Therefore, under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, it was said that there are 8 crore such migrant people, and in order to give them the food, we will give extra food grains to the state government so that these people could be helped. But to be very clear, the problem has still not been solved, and in order to solve, the government is insisting onto the one nation one ration card scheme, under which a kind of a geo portability with respect to the ration card is given. It means that a person from the UP state having the ration card of UP can get the food even into the Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, etc. So, guys, the ration cards will be universalized, and it has been said that this scheme will be fully operational by 2021, and government is entirely focusing on to this respect. But guys, here also there is a problem, and the problem is this, that one nation one ration card used the Aadhaar data for the identification, and EPOS, that is electronical point of sale machines, are used, but they have their own problem: network connectivity, failure of the transactions, many a time the thumb impressions, etc., are not properly recognized, particularly into the old age people. So guys, there are large number of glitches into the one nation one ration card. Moreover, as I told you, that government says that it will fully implement it by 2021, and as of now they say that it is operational into 20 states. But according to the data given by the integrated management of PDS, that is IMPDS, into the month of June, only 479 transactions were made under the one nation one ration card scheme. So you can see that how poorly it is being utilized. So therefore the solutions cannot be found here. So guys, what could be done, what could be the way forward? So it has been said that we should rather focus on to the universalization of the PDS scheme, and everybody, irrespective of whether having the ration card or not, should be allowed to carry the food. Now guys, before doing it, if we see the data, then in India 41 million ton food grain is to be kept as a buffer stock. But as of today, the Food Corporation of India's godown have food more than 100 million ton, which is way above the buffer stock limit. So therefore it is being said that for a temporary time, that is 4 months to 6 months, we should universalize the food allocation or the PDS system. Moreover, friends, earlier we had seen that under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana and Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, extra food was being given. Now, even their validity is coming towards an expiry. So, at least government should extend their deadline for at least 3 months. But this is the least which government can do, and ideally it is being said that it should go for the universalization of entire system. Guys, you might have also heard that every year food grains are rotting into the FCI godown, and in order to prevent them, government goes for the open market sale scheme, where it sells the food grain at below the procurement price, but it is not giving the food grain to the people. And guys, it is right now not the time to go into such kind of mechanism. Rather, free of cost food should be provided in order to secure the food security of India. So guys, that's all about this particular issue, and now we'll move to next. Now, friends, this particular article talk about the Naga issue, but this entire Naga issue since the 1950s we had traced on 26th June. So I'll highly recommend that you guys please see this particular discussion, because it is much more comprehensive than what is given into the article. Guys, here we'll talk about certain reforms into the education sector. Now, as we are talking about the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, so guys, the education also needs to be made self-reliant, and in that particular direction, certain fundamental changes are required. Now, before going that, guys, a reference of the STARS project has been given here, which is a $3 billion World Bank initiative which aims to reform the face of education in 6 Indian states. And guys, the pillar here to bring the reform are the use of non-state actors and the use of technology, along with the reform into the governance structure of these schools, because here it has been said that heavy handedness of government or over control of government should not be carried, rather professional competence should be brought. But according to the article, the STARS project has wrong conception in reforming the education. The article says that rather than reducing the governance, we need to bring a more and better governance. The financial, technological, human resource capabilities should be built into the government administration so that meaningful reforms they can take for the education sector. Secondly, guys, the bureaucracy has a very much potential, but they are not able to perform due to two reasons. Number one, if they will act and if something goes wrong, then they will be charged of the corruption related things, and therefore a kind of a fear has developed, and all over they are not doing anything, inactivity is coming. Secondly, guys, adequate power has not been given, decentralization has not taken properly, and they still depend on to the political patronage to take the decision. So discretionary power is needed to be given. And then thirdly, we need to instill the values of cooperation and coordination between the different tiers of government as well as a department, so that holistically actions could be taken. Now, guys, coming back to the stars, further it has been said that all these ingredients which are required, they are missing into the stars initiative. Number one, it doesn't pays any attention onto the recruitment of better trained and skilled human resources such as teachers and professors. Secondly, it doesn't relies onto the decentralization, rather the heavy centralization is favored, which will not be good for bringing the better governance. And guys, third, there is over reliance onto the technology, and it is being treated as a panacea for all the governance challenges, but without fixing the fundamental root causes, the technology will not be able to be helping. Fourthly, it is over reliant onto the measurement of to the results. But guys, the measurement of result is not needed, rather we need to go into the deeper problems, and we need to see that why the problems are existing, and we need to cut the problems from the roots. And finally, the star project has an over reliance onto the outsourcing, but the basic functions of the government such as governance in education cannot be outsourced to the private institutions, because then they will not be representative of the interest of all the people, they will not be able to represent the socio-cultural realities in India. So therefore, guys, in order to be truly atmanirbhar, we need to reform the governance rather than replace the governance. So guys, that's all about this particular thing, and now we'll move to next. Now, guys, this particular article holds a certain good points with respect to the answers onto the transparency and openness. So, friends, into the times of present pandemic, it has been said that various state governments has not openly gave the correct information with respect to the number of cases and death. And recently, various state government has even revised their data. So, guys, the problem is that government doesn't share the public data with the public, and this type of tendency doesn't goes well with the principles of transparency. Now, such issues have also been there into the West, but the social activists in US and UK had raised the demand so that government put all the public data into the open portals, and such a movement has become truly global, and open data charter has been adopted by 22 countries, and it calls that government should put all the public data into the digital format so that citizen can see this thing. Now, guys, when we talk about bringing such data into the public domain, then already we have the national data sharing and accessibility policy of 2012, which have the principles such as openness, flexibility, transparency, and good quality of data. It puts a responsibility onto the government that machine readable data should be put into the public platform. But guys, such kind of thing has not been fulfilled yet, and open government data policy is still lagging far behind. And now the COVID could be a opportunity where government can revert back to its open government data policy and should put all the data into the public domain with respect to the health, job, education, all these kind of things. So guys, this particular thing we can use as a reference. So that's all. Now we'll move to next. Now, guys, here we can see that India, into the spirit of neighborhood policy, had signed a pact onto the joint Hydel project between India and Bhutan. Now, this particular project will be called as the Kholongchu project and will be situated onto the Kholongchu river, which flows from the east Bhutan, particularly from the region of the Trashiangse, which happens to be little bit underdeveloped when other Bhutan is compared. Now, This is not the first project. Rather, the India and Bhutan had signed the four projects in 2008, and from there, this particular project is now under being taken. Further, this particular project is being undertaken as onto the 50-50 joint venture basis, and not only it will be a government agreement. The project is expected to be completed by the 2025 and will be highly beneficial for the entire region. So guys, this particular thing could be used as a reference as how India is expanding the outreach program into the neighborhood nations. So that's all. Now we'll move to next. So, guys, today we had seen one editorial where the suggestion was given that the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana should be extended. So, guys, this article is into that light only. So now the food activists and all people concerned parties are saying that government should extend the scheme where the 5 kg of food extra food grains along with 1 kg of pulses were being given under the existing National Food Security Act. It is being said that the FCI has enough of the food grains that it can carry the scheme into the future direction also. But government has not given any decisive decision on this thing. So that's all. Now we'll move to next. When government announced the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, under that initiatives for various sections were announced, and one such initiative was announced for the street vendors because due to the lockdown they had suffered. So Pradhan Mantri Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, or in short PM SVANidhi, was announced under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and here the street vendors were to be provided the loan of 10,000 rupees, which will act as their working capital so that they can resume their business. Under the scheme, it was believed that the 50 crore beneficiaries will be given the loan. Now, guys, in that particular direction only, an online portal has been started which will provide them end-to-end IT interface so that they can get the benefits into the seamless and into very fast manner. Now, friends, one important information here. The scheme has been launched by the Union Housing and Urban Affairs Ministry and not by the Ministry of Finance. So, if a question comes, please keep in your mind. Moreover, guys, this particular thing can also be used as an example as how government is using the web-based technologies in order to provide the better solutions to the citizens into the time of distress. So that's all. Now we'll move to next. Now, friends, here the operation twist has been mentioned, which has been announced by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, guys, we don't need to see that how much rupees is being undertaken. Rather, we need to see the phenomena. So it is very simple. Right now, into the market, the long-term loans are very much costly because the uncertainty into the market, and secondly, because of the non-availability of the funds. So, what Reserve Bank of India is doing under the operation twist, at the same time, Reserve Bank of India will sell the short-term securities to the banks. Now, guys, when the securities will be sold, obviously the banks will give the money to the Reserve Bank of India. And by using that money, Reserve Bank of India will buy the long-term security from the market. So, guys, when there will be no long-term securities into the market, banks will inclined to give that money for the long term loans. Investor will invest that money into some other kind of projects. Moreover, guys, the people who have money, they will also deposit it into the long term FD or such kind of accounts. So, guys, because of all these things, the interest rate for the long term loans will come down. Now, originally, the Operation Twist was undertaken into the USA by the Federal Reserve, but now the RBI has also started, and again, it is taking a new round of Operation Twist. So, guys, please remember it could be highly important for our exam. So, that's all, and now we'll go to the question section. Guys, please pause the video and try to answer the question. So, question number 1 is with respect to the vector borne diseases. Please consider the right code. Question number 2 is with respect to the ecology. Please consider the statement and identify the right code. Now, guys, question number 3 is with respect to the Simon Commission from history. Please consider the right code. Question number 4 is with respect to the parliamentary committees. So, please consider the right statement. Now, friends, the main question, it is from GS paper number 3, food security. So the question says that food security in India is on verge of collapse if adequate safeguards will not be provided. identify the challenges, and also suggest the solution to preserve food security for masses in the times of pandemic. So guys, please write and submit your question for the review. So that's all. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.